Yes, sir. As y'all always hear me say, we are back, or I should say, yes, indeed, if y'all catch that one. But we're here. I have a special guest with me, as y'all always know, Alex Cherry on Novice Principles. Very special guest. And so I'm not going to waste no time. I'm going to hand it off to him, let him introduce himself, and we're going to get right into it.
What's good? My name is mynameisntjmack. I am an artist, rapper from the 757 here in Virginia. I just released an album called The Lords of Sounds and Lesser Things. And I'm working on my next stuff coming out hopefully by the end of this year. And if not, top of next year. A lot of the stuff that I make is inspired by the stuff that I've gone through. And my background, etc. Trying to be honest about that. So I'm excited to chop it up.
Okay. Well, J Mac, we love, appreciate having you on here. My first question, of course, how the name, my name isn't J Mac kind of like come into play.
So when I first started making music, I actually went by .jmack, .com type shit, .jmack. And that was because my whole life I moved around a lot. I was born up in Portsmouth and then moved down to Florida, then moved to Pennsylvania, stayed all over Pennsylvania because I got family up there. But everywhere I went, including coming back to the 757, I was just called J-Mac. It's always been a thing. Even though I always introduce myself as Jonathan, I don't mind it, but my name isn't J-Mac kind of came out of that duality of identity, you feel me? Trying to find that, be more honest and kind of find who I am through the music.
Trying to get out of that, that certain identity that you have.
Yeah, because I think all of us have a front-facing identity, and then we got who we are. And I think a lot of music is made with that front-facing identity in mind. And I'm trying to, do a little bit of the opposite.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So J Mac, I have to ask. Since we're on Novice Principles, I do want to ask, what is one thing, one principle, one thing that you kind of stand on, a belief that you have.
A belief that I have. I would personally say I'm big on being kind and taking time out, but that's not necessarily a principle. It's just a way of life. I think everybody should live by, just trying to be kind and open. Mm-hmm. But I would say one principle that I stand by is just keep stumbling. I'm the first person to say that I'm proudly stumbling into every opportunity that I have. I think too many people are focused on the act of running and running towards their goals. And my principle is really just, keep stumbling, because even if you're stumbling forward, that balance takes effort to stay on your feet and keep moving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like you said, I really do think, a lot of us get caught up in, kind of the end of the journey, the destination, as opposed to the journey. And it's kind of what you're saying is really appreciate the journey, because a lot of this shit not going to be here forever. And so you just got to appreciate the time that you have and really just appreciate that, that day-to-day outlook.
Yeah. And maintaining being able to make it day to day is a victory in and of itself,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay. So yeah, so let's take a step back. We talked a little bit about, the origins of the name. But now let's get into the origins of, your beginnings in the music, so when did you realize that you wanted to, really pursue music fully?
That's a good question, because I always answer that I started pursuing music and then I started pursuing music fully, like you said. So I started really writing music when I was young, middle school, up until high school. I'm a big believer that everybody got a 16 in their notes app somewhere. But yeah, I started writing around middle school, and then right before I left for college, I was at a party with a friend who was the only one brave enough to make music and put it out to people at that time. And we got to freestyling as people do. And he heard me rap for the first time, was like, yo, have you ever rapped into a microphone? And I said, nah. And he was like, we're leaving right now. Went back to his crib, recorded for the first time, and I fell in love with it there. So that's when I started really pursuing music, but I didn't pursue it fully until about, I say really a year ago, because I think that pursuing music fully comes with the marketing side of things and the effort put in towards content creation and all the little things aside from just making good music.
Hmm. Okay, no, and I agree. I definitely do think that marketing aspect goes a long way. And we've seen that, like we've seen that from you, from like just the push from the tape into like the reactions that it got to you being on Genius and doing a whole performance for that. Little moments like that. Like how was the Genius, like the Genius doing the live performance for you? Like how was that moment for you?
The live performance was fun. Much love to that entire crew. It's called Flight House Media, their in-house production team that films everything. And they were great. That was a fun experience. It's crazy that it's really just that stage and some cameras set up around it. It's not anything crazy intricate. So what they're able to do visually with that to make it look as professional as it does, as unique of an environment as they do, is really impressive.
Okay. So you talked a little bit about, being from Portsmouth, going down to Florida, so
Nah,
how,
so I was born in Portsmouth. Right now I live like Yorktown, Newport News area, like that
okay,
line, you feel me? So
okay, okay.
I was born in Portsmouth though, so I like to just say 757 because
That's
most
about
people
that.
won't understand if I say like round Harpersville Road type shit.
Yeah, nah, I would say even for me, and that's like one thing that I tell everybody, because like the honing in on the entire Virginia scene, because I'm from Northern Virginia, and so I take pride in really like learning about the musicians from Virginia, learning y'all stories, so it's great to see so many of y'all like coming up at the same time, and I say all that to say like, how is it for you, really being one of those individuals in Virginia who, is getting a lot of looks and is really coming up in the same time as a lot of other Virginia artists, and really being a part of that special renaissance that's going on, that we have going on up there.
I think it's a beautiful thing because when I first started making music, like a lot of people do, I felt like I projected my insecurities, and I felt like in Virginia we weren't necessarily as close. Like I didn't necessarily have like a group of people that I performed with consistently or made music with consistently. It was kind of me just traveling to whoever wanted to make music. And over the past year, when I really put an effort towards showing love and trying to give back to the community of artists just within Virginia, I was able to meet phenomenal people like Tommy Richmond, Saki. I recently got the chance to meet Eric Penn, who's incredibly talented, Jesse Boone. And I haven't had the chance to meet Al Doms, but he's from Norfolk and he's up in New York doing big things, making real good music. So
No,
it's a beautiful thing just to see it,
no,
because
yeah.
once you reach out and find that community of people that you believe make good music in Virginia, it kind of expands because they
Mhm.
start to know people. And it's great to see we all support each other. We all pop out to shows. I recently just saw Saki at damn, I can't remember the Pocket.
Yeah,
The Pocket.
his inaugural show. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was up there. I was up there at the Pocket in DC. I got the chance to do bunker pre-roll with Tommy.
Okay.
Got to see Eric Penn and Jesse perform. So it's great to see everybody from Virginia doing their own thing, and also we're doing stuff together and trying to make some stuff shake.
No, I love that, and I think especially with Virginia artists, y'all have something special, and I think like it's really just that y'all have that dying like passion for the music, and like honestly, you can never say like one person from Virginia sounds just like the other one that's coming up, and I think that's what I love the most, because literally like listening to all of y'all, bro, it's something very different. Like it's something very different about all of y'all.
I really appreciate it, and I think that that comes from the fact that, Virginia, we don't necessarily have like a regional scene. We just have people who have, been unique enough to make it out of here, from your Pharrells to your Pusha T's to your Missy Elliott's and Timbaland's.
Hmm.
The people that made it out of here made it out by being as unique as they were and not necessarily any sort of tie to a regional scene. So I think that's where that uniqueness comes from, is the fact that when you're not necessarily asked to make it in a specific area with a specific genre, you're kind of given that freedom to make whatever. And that's kind of why we're all in such different lanes but able to work together at the same time.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. Okay, so Tommy Richmond, you guys have a song together on the tape, and then you guys have Pre-Roll Bunker that's also out. So you guys have, you all got some collabs out there. What's that relationship like? And is there like a possibility of maybe like a collab tape or something in the future between y'all?
Hey, you a smart man. Smart man. That's a novice principles exclusive. We definitely have something in the works. We're not sure how many songs. Tommy and I are both in that same kind of lane where we like to make a lot of music just all the time and then eventually kind of whittle it down into something that we both enjoy. But with me and Tommy, it's a lot more before the music. I reached out to him as a fan of his stuff first and foremost, because I had been put on by a great publication, Too Good, ran by my homie Ka. I gotta connect y'all. But he introduced me to Kato Leaf, who's also on a project. Kato had a song with Tommy, and I reached out as a fan because I was a real big fan of his music. And then we just started chopping it up. And I saw one day he posted about Anderson Silva in the UFC, and I'm a big UFC fan.
Okay.
So we just started chopping it up, and eventually we were like, "Hey, I'm in the 757." He was up in Woodbridge, so I went up to Woodbridge to watch a UFC card with him.
Man.
And then we just kicked it from there, and that was where we made 2020 Self-Aware, the joint that's on the tape.
Okay.
That day. And then ever since then, me and him just talked about UFC, talk about life, talk about family and such. He has a wonderful mom and her boyfriend Darren, phenomenal people, have allowed me to stay up there with them in Woodbridge, just to be able to make and pursue music whenever I'm up there in DC. So that relationship is real strong. And it all started with the UFC, so it didn't necessarily start with music.
The music, no, I love that. Like it's genuine. Like it's very genuine. I really do love that. Okay. So for you, J Mac, like what is a difficulty that you have, especially being an up and coming artist? What is like one difficulty that you've seen being independent, coming up?
Difficulty, I would say, for me personally, is not taking anything personally and trying to fight that ego each and every day, because I think that that's a big part about just being a better human being, aside from just being a better artist. But in this space, I think it's important that we not take everything personally, from like somebody that you respect trying to get a feature from trying to charge you a lot. They might just not be aware yet. Just keep putting in that work, or people not trying to work with you right away, things of that nature. Publications might not post every single one of your songs or your music videos. It's fighting that ego to think that it's not a competition, and there's a lot of great music out there that deserves love, and not everything is a personal indictment on necessarily you and your abilities, or the way in which you make music. Some people might not just be able to hear it because we're in an oversaturated environment. So
yeah,
that for me, I try each and every day to just be like, what more could I do, instead of trying to project some shit out,
No, yeah, I agree. And I think especially like, for creatives in general, but especially y'all as artists, because, y'all have, certain people that y'all want to reach and certain things that y'all want to do. But it may not just be your time yet, like you just said, but it's like you said, like not taking it personal.
Yeah.
Understanding that it's a lot it's a lot going on, but it's somebody out there for y'all all the time.
100%. And I think that in independent underground artistry, especially, and maybe more so in the hip hop space, but people have issues with like appearing to be or being a fan of somebody, because it might be ego, it might be insecurity, but I try to be the first person to say that everybody that I've worked with, from a feature standpoint, I am genuinely a fan of, and like I ask for them to be on a project so that when I listen to this album, which is really for me, I can hear that and be like, yeah, I got a song with Marco Plus, I got a song with Dre Waves, I got a song with Tommy Richmond. So that's really one thing that I think is important, is to reach out laterally, and try and make moves with the people that you see are putting in as much effort as you are.
No, I agree. Yeah, and so I think you hit on a great point. So how do you combat, making the music for you that you like, but also taking in the idea that damn, are they gonna fuck with this, or trying to put something that you might think like is actually like for the people, as opposed to being for you, or is it always just like like the shit that I'm making like is because I like it and I just want to share it. I just want to share it with y'all.
Hey, I would be lying if I said that every single song that I made came from a 100% place of like this is like obviously I'm gonna think about like the little things of like, hey, where does this song play into an album? Could it be a single, etc? But I would say the music is really for me, and I combat that by making a lot of music with a
Hmm.
lot of different people and try and work with different producers. And then if you have a lot of music, you're not necessarily tied down in any one way. And you could just say, yeah, I have 5 songs that kind of sound like this, put it out. And then you have 5 songs that sound a little bit different, put those out, and roll it out that way so that you don't necessarily feel tied to a specific genre or people's expectations.
Mm, okay. No, yeah, I think that's always the hardest thing is just trying to figure out, like, especially for y'all, just trying to figure out like where that middle ground is, where I'm not gonna say morals, but really just trying to figure out like, how y'all want something to sound.
Yeah, it's quality control at the end of the day. There's a lot of songs that I've made that I thought were going to be the song to, this is the one.
Mm,
And then after a long time and making more music, I realized like I could do better. And that one out of this body of work isn't it.
mm-hmm.
The last album, Lords of Sounds and Lesser Things, that was 10 completely different tracks,
Yeah.
skits, different
Very.
songs. And then I worked for a year at making more music, and I was like, yeah, scrap this entire project. It sounds like this now.
Mm. Oh wow. Okay. So that's what I want to get into, and I'm glad we pivoted because now we can talk about Lords of Sounds and Lesser Things. And I guess for you, so you're saying that in that process, in the process of recording, like you scrapped the project originally.
Yeah, scrapped. So it was 7 songs and 3 different skits.
Okay.
Completely. Like everything was different. And I just continued to make music. I probably made like 20, 25 more songs over the course of the next like 6 months.
Okay.
And then I'm blessed to meet the management team that I work with, other side New York, and they've given me a place to stay up there. And traveling to New York, traveling to LA, coming up to DC, and making moves is it's inspiring from a musical perspective. So I feel like while I was making that original album here in Virginia, I didn't necessarily have that perspective of like grinding to make the music work. So once I started doing that, better music came out of it.
Okay. Okay. So what did you? So I guess like since the project's been out for a few months now, what is like one of the biggest takeaways that you've seen thus far, or like one lesson that you've learned?
Uh, I would say that continue to love what you've made even after it's out. Because I was so excited with the response. And I loved it that I was like, okay, now I'm ready to make more. I'm ready to do more.
Mm.
Uh and I still to this day don't think that I promoted the project as best that I could. I'm still trying to figure out ways to kind of go back and retroactively include it into some of the rollout for the next stuff,
Okay.
because I do think it still has legs. But that's one thing I would recommend is to people is continue to love what you've made, regardless of any sort of if you receive negativity, or even if those self-doubt creeps in.
The project
you
is
know
still fresh because you dropped it in May, right?
Yeah, and see that's the thing is we get into that culture of like we got to continue to release music, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely affected by it as well. So I'm
Yeah,
trying
because
to.
I saw there was like a conversation going on that I saw a while ago, and it was just about like upcoming artists, like y'all need to continue to push like the projects that y'all make, even if they've been out for like a year or two. It was
Yeah,
the Tyler
yeah,
Creator conversation.
yeah, with
Um,
Converse, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, that one. Where he was just saying like, my album's been out for a year or two now, and I'm still pushing it. Like, things like that. I mean, I know it's because of really like culture and things like that, but I think that's real. I do think that's real, especially for
Yeah,
y'all who are talented and y'all have good ass shit out. It's like more ears need to hear. And granted, it's gonna find the right people, but it's like y'all gotta keep believing in yourselves and just keep pushing the project.
Yeah, and that kind of, it's like justifying the grind. It's got trying to find a way to do that, because some days you're gonna wake up and it's not gonna be worth it. And I had one of those days today, to be completely frank with you.
Okay.
But waking up and feeling like you're not gonna do it, it's like I don't want to record these TikToks, or I don't want to record none of these videos to throw on Instagram. I don't want to sit and write so that I can make something better. You just want to kind of go about it just recording music. I don't think I would have ever gotten to where I'm at now by doing that.
So
and you might not feel that way every day, but converting 1 to 2 people, 3, 4 people every time you make one of these little efforts is eventually what it's all about, because that's how you create an audience.
I definitely agree. So how do you how do you combat that? Like, how do you figure out, like, damn, like, I had a bad day, or today's just not the day. Like, how do you combat that, like, on days where you do finally wake up and you're like, okay, like, today's a good day? Is it just like you just gotta roll with the punches?
Yeah, I try to roll with the punches the best I can, but to be honest with you, the way that I combat it is trying to respond to people who have reached out and say that they enjoy the music. I might not get back to everybody that asks for a feature or for me to collab with them, because I'm just kind of doing different stuff at the moment, and it's no hard feelings. But to the ones that reach out and are like, yo, like, I genuinely enjoy the music, or this helped me, or I heard this for the first time and I instantly became a fan, or even the ones that's like, I saw this, I thought this was going to be another ad, and then I heard it and I liked it. I like to reach back out to those people and say, yo, thank you, I appreciate you taking the time, because they don't have to reach out to somebody like me to tell me that they like their music, or like my music, but they do, and it means a lot.
I love that. Like you keep preaching about, like, it's that charisma and it's that genuineness that's going to take you a long way, bro. Like besides the talent, like, it's the character. I think a lot of people miss that too, and that's why I was telling you earlier when we first hopped on. It's like trying to show people, like, y'all's character, because, bro, like you got a really good spirit, and it shows. Like, it really does show, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I try to maintain it, because like I said, keep stumbling, maintaining that balance. I think that people overvalue the running towards that end goal, as opposed to the beauty and the balance of, like, I might be stumbling, but I'm staying up and I'm still moving.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So the project, so what was your favorite song to record on that project? Not favorite song that's out, favorite song to record.
Favorite song to record on the Lords of Silence and Lesser Things. I like to say New Brass Knuckles, because that is the song that kind of sparked, like, the next wave of music, just from, like, experimenting with my voice and such. I would say that New Brass Knuckles and Tucker were, like, the last 2 songs that I recorded.
Would you say you experimented on Dove's Bleed too?
Oh yeah, with the growls and
yes,
stuff.
Yes, that's the one that we had put on the playlist.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Dove's Bleed
as fuck.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That joint took like 5 years off my fucking vocal cords, but I definitely
drinking tea for like a month.
Yeah, 100%. That and New Brass Knuckles are, like, kind of diametrically opposed opposites, because I was growling. Dove's Bleed is meant to be the contrast between the 2 voices, the narrative voices of Jonathan and or J Mac on that album. Like, my name isn't / Jonathan versus J Mac, and when you hear that growl, that's that J Mac side of things, and that was fun to try and emulate. And then when you hear, like, the more higher pitch type stuff on New Brass Knuckles, that's the My Name Isn't, and it was fun to try and emulate that with my voice, and that's something that I always want to do going forward. But I say New Brass Knuckles just because I was in the studio with my friend James, and we were recording that, and I said, yo, I'm trying to do something different. Let me get into my fake Erykah Badu bag real quick. I was like that. I lost my spine being.
I'm fucking screaming.
Yeah, that joint. I was like, let me try it, and it just kind of worked.
A little test run. And it worked.
Exactly. And it worked for that. And we just kind of kept experimenting. And now I think with the new music that's coming out, I'm getting better at those kind of like stacked vocals. And trying to create like wider, more emotional music. You
Okay.
know.
I love that. And so for the next project, for the next project, and I guess like the rest of 2022, it sounds like, you know, you're just gonna continue to experiment and continue to, you know, just like try different sounds and figure out like what fits.
Yeah, 100%. In terms of experimenting with sounds, I would say I've been working with a lot of great producers. Of course, like my usual team of John, Stoic, Limo, my manager produces as well, Gutty. Those people that were also featured on the Lords of Sounds and Lesser Things. But I recently met a great producer by the name of Wolf Morpheus. And he makes all kinds of different stuff, but we've been working
A
on
hard
this
ass name.
well. Yeah, I know, right?
A hard
So yeah, just keep experimenting, and then whether it's like the end of this year or the top of the next, we got a lot coming.
Okay. Okay. So I got a fun question before we wrap up. Studio must have. Like what is something that you have to have while you're recording?
Man, first and foremost, let me say you're great at what you do. These have all been great questions. These have all been great
That's
questions.
love. That's love, bro. That's
These have
love.
all been great questions. Nobody's ever asked me studio must-haves. Of course, weed has got to be one. The gas has got to be one.
Gotta have the za.
But shit, I'm big on video games, and that's one thing that I know a lot of people want to come in and like lock in. I'm big on like, yo, could you just put that beat on in the background? And damn, my lights went out, but put that beat on in the background and let me just play a game of FIFA, play a game of 2K.
Do you have a preference in systems?
I'm a Sony kid, you know. My older cousin, rest in peace, gave me the PS1, my first ever PS1. And then ever since then, I've tried to, you know, eventually get all the Sony systems. I'm still lacking with that PS5.
Nah, you're not the only one. It's okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, but you know,
Yeah, no, we're definitely in that little that yeah, it's
yeah,
okay.
I'm big on video games, and then in terms of like food, and or like drinks, I'm big on peach Red Bull when I need to stay awake. I like peach Red Bull, but I try not to drink too many of those. And then
I gotta do better at that too. Like
yeah,
Red Bull is a go-to. Like I don't know about the flavor Red Bulls, but like the regular Red Bulls, like
yeah.
that's definitely my go-to for like keeping me amped.
Oh yeah, bro. And I'm a degenerate. I like vodka Red Bulls. I like all that shit. So
Okay.
yeah. So I would say peach Red Bull. And then if I'm thinking like food, yeah, I'm a terrible person to bring in the studio. This is why I record by myself most times, because
I was,
I
just, I
like,
was just about to say you got a lot going on in the studio.
yeah, bro. I need something to drink. I need games. It's like I feel like I have undiagnosed ADD or
80,
ADHD.
yeah.
You feel me? Because I like to focus on a lot of stuff and then do things passively, and then I stop and I'm like, yo, I've written down something that I enjoy, or like I've thought of a bar. I'm big on listening to podcasts too, and just not even listening to a beat. And trying to listen to stuff that helps inform like different modes of thought, or like phrases, words of speaking. You know, I got this song that I'm working on now called Conquest, that I would never have thought of the word conquest, but it's like, what is that?
It randomly came up to you at some different facet, and now it's an entire concept.
Yeah, now it's an entire concept of like, I'm not a violent person by any means, but what does conquest mean in the scope of music? Conquesting a relationship, conquesting different, like, because that to me is like overcoming something, you know. So
It is.
trying to work on that. So yeah, I'm big on like a lot of different things going on around me, so that I could do anything but right in that moment, and then it just comes together.
Then it just comes together. Nah, that's really how it is. Like, you know, it just be like that sometimes, bro.
Yeah, I'm not big on like everybody being in the studio, 15 niggas bobbing their head to one beat for 2 hours, and then it's like everybody stand up and everybody got something. I'm big on like having it be a comfortable environment. Probably got some sports going on, probably got something like that, you know.
Something chill. Okay.
Yeah.
I fuck with that. Yeah, especially, you know, I tell myself all the time, like, because I'm definitely one of those same people where, like, you know, I be having a lot going on at one time, but then the ideas will start to sprout and things like that. So
Oh yeah.
we're on the same page. We're definitely on the same page with that.
100%. And it's always nice to throw on like some anime in the background, like no volume, watch something.
Yeah, I don't watch too much anime. I don't watch too much anime. I'm more of a real. I'm just sports for real, for real.
All right,
Like,
well now I gotta know your teams. Now I gotta know your teams.
okay, so I am. So I bleed black and yellow. So I'm a diehard Steelers fan. Diehard Steelers fan.
You kidding?
I'm dead ass.
Oh, I'm dead ass. I'm wearing this
Oh,
dumb ass purple right now. I'm a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Whole
oh,
family from.
sir. I got the.
I was about to wear my Steelers jacket in here. No bullshit.
That would have been crazy as fuck if you would have done that. That would
Yeah,
have been crazy as fuck. But
I'm a big Steelers fan.
Steelers.
Big Steelers fan.
Okay. Look, yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. So the
Yeah.
Steelers, and then baseball, because I played baseball growing up, like the Braves. Like I'm a big Braves fan.
That's crazy. My little brother's a relief pitcher at Lynchburg University in Virginia right now. So we're also a big baseball family as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'm saying we got a lot of ties.
100%. My family being from Pennsylvania, I was kind of raised in the Pittsburgh sports. So I'm a big like Steelers, Pirates, Penguins. Yeah.
I love that. No, I definitely love that. No, yeah, that's very valid, bro. Okay. So J-Mac, my last question, of course, like you being where you're at right now, if you could give one piece of advice, to anybody, looking at you on the outside looking in, like what would it
be? Be vulnerable, because there is more to learn about you and more for everybody to love when you're vulnerable. If you're trying to put forward that whatever type of performance that we all put on when we walk out the door in the morning, if you try to put that always into your music, like people are going to be able to tell, or you might not stand out. I think that being vulnerable in that pursuit of being vulnerable and really being your truest self through the music is the most important thing at the end of the day.
Okay. Okay. Y'all heard him. He said it best. I can't say no better than he did. So with that, my name isn't JMac. I appreciate you for stopping by real quick.
I appreciate you as well.
Always, brother. So of course, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. And we'll catch y'all next time.